I'm confused. That's why I'm glad I have Lordy here to explain this to me like I'm a child. I thought I had a problem with the Taliban working with America working with the Taliban, with our general saying that we're providing them with information. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm stuck in the past where the Taliban is bad. That's what I've always thought. Let me play this clip for you, and I mean, just tell me how it hits you, man, because it hits me real weird.
All of those things we look at. Now, the other thing we do is we share versions of this information with the Taliban so that they can actually do some searching out there for us. And we believe that some attacks have been thwarted by them. Again, we've been doing this we've been doing this since the 14th. This is an attack that's been carried out. We believe it's possible that others have been thwarted. We cut down the information we give the Taliban. They don't get the full range of information we have, but we give them enough to act in time and space to try to prevent these attacks.
So we're giving them information, we're sharing information. Of course, it's redacted information. We expect, it seems, that they are going to help us thwart attacks. They're going to help us. Now, Lordy is like, yes, they are going to help get Americans out. That's something I haven't heard anywhere. So, I mean, do you mind just re-explaining that, since you've already processed your thoughts on that, Lordy?
Well, what do you need explained?
Why is it not a bad thing that we're working with the Taliban? And why do you believe that the Taliban will successfully work to get Americans out of their country? I'm not saying you're wrong. I just want you to explain it.
Well, I mean, the biggest issue was the whole list. It's not the fact that because that's where he says we have a shared, or we have shared interests. The shared interests from our end are we want the Americans out of the country. The shared interest from their end is they want everyone out of their country. So they are actually helping other countries get their people out. They want them out. They don't want to hurt them. They just want them to leave. So they want to control their country. They're tired of all of the other countries trying to control their country.
So am I...
So the issue I have is that we gave them a list of specific individuals that we want them to allow into the airport. So the airport is the only entry and exit point. That's why it's a hotspot right now. I mean, this is literally fighting for control of the country is happening at this airport. Whoever owns this airport really is owning the country right now. So the Taliban, they own the airport. They own the government.
Why?
Because they're allowed to.
No, because we gave it up.
No, we didn't give it up. The Afghan military gave it up.
Okay.
After we left.
After we crippled their ability to defend themselves by taking the air support away. From what I've learned in this is that we provided them with grade A air support, and that's why they were going to be able to take over their country. And as far as I'm concerned, I thought we never wanted the Taliban to take over. So for me, it feels very fast that it's like, yes, they've taken over. The Taliban took over. Now we're working with them. It's like, hold on. Isn't this whole debacle about we didn't want them to take over in the first place? And now that they are, it's like, yep. And we're working with them, and we think they're going to be fair, and we think they're going to help us get out of the country.
Because in the beginning, we weren't training the Afghanistan military to prevent the Taliban from taking over. That's not what we were training them for.
What were we training them for?
To keep their country safe.
From who?
Terrorists. Which are not the Taliban.
So you're saying the Taliban isn't, but my question is, when a group, a gang, whatever you want to call it, overthrows a government, what does that group get called?
Not terrorists in our book.
Revolution.
Yeah.
No.
They're
So
Revolutionaries.
they weren't
Yeah,
saying that
revolutionaries, they're
the
revolting.
Proud Boys and the Q people and everything else were domestic terrorist groups when they were going into these towns that were having protests,
They weren't trying to
peaceful
take
protests
over.
when they were burning cities down and trying to just flush them. Exactly. They were doing less than that, and they were considered domestic terrorist groups.
That's
Still
just
are.
propaganda. That's completely different.
It
So
is
how
completely
co- so
different.
how come
It's a
those
smaller
same-
scale where we call those people terrorists, but on a bigger scale where an entire country is overthrown by a militia, so to speak, they're not a terrorist group.
Well,
Why
okay.
then? Why did we spend 20
We're
years and so
using the
much
word
money
overthrown.
occupying their country
I don't think
and trying to
overthrown
help their
is the right
military
word.
when we could have just said, hey, these great Taliban guys are already capable of running the country, so let's just let them do it. We'll get out of here. We'll save money. We'll save 20 years. We'll save everything else. They can run Afghanistan and we'll get out of their hair. Like, why did it miraculously all fall into play a week and a half ago?
It didn't start a week and a half ago.
It
Started
happened a week and a
last
half
year
ago.
with Trump in February signing an agreement that we will release prisoners, Taliban prisoners. We were going to release 5,000 over a year, which we did.
Why did we
which
have
Trump did?
hold on?
And
Hold on,
second,
real quick,
hold on,
why did we
that
have
Trump would reduce the number of troops in Afghanistan from 13,000 to 2,500, which he did over a year, which allowed for the country to realize, all of these people are leaving. They are realizing they don't want to do this anymore. They see it's costing billions of dollars and it's literally doing nothing. They are trying to establish a militarized police state, which we would call democracy, but really it's a militarized police state. It was 300,000 soldiers we were training. What exactly is that to a country? That's like most of their country right there. And it didn't work. They all know it's failed. It's not
why
Trump.
did we have
It's not Biden.
why
It's
did
been
we have
20 years.
Taliban prisoners if they're all these good guys on the up and up that are capable of taking
so
over
those are the
and
good
running
guys.
the country?
Okay.
We're cool with it.
You
No,
got
I'm
it.
asking
And
you.
there were good guys that were in prison. No,
That's what I'm
not
asking.
Good
Like,
guys.
why?
They're a gang. We've mentioned this before. It's like they're gangs. This is the least evil in the whole area. They're not terrorists. There's going to be
Then
bad
why
people
didn't we let them take over the country years ago? That's
because
I'm
they did
genuinely
everything
asking.
wrong.
Like,
They
why?
thought that we could go in there and build a country, and we learned our lesson. We can't,
And I agree
because they don't want it.
They
You
don't
can't
want
force
it.
someone
Right.
to do something they don't want.
They
Like,
definitely don't
that's
want
why
our
it failed.
gender. They definitely don't want our gender theory nonsense
That's not
that
a
we're
part of it.
Yes.
I don't. No.
Sharia law and the stuff that we're trying to force down their throats is
We're not
completely
forcing any of
incompatible.
that. We're forcing a police militarized state.
So let me
And
ask you this,
calling
Corey.
it democracy. Hey guys, we're going to come in here.
Let me
and
ask
we're
you
going to
this.
train 300,000 military people.
Did
And this is
they-
going to be a
Or
democracy.
did
And
they
you guys are going to
not
vote.
take millions/billion? Did they not take more money from our COVID stimulus bill than us U.S. citizens did under the guise of gender studies and Afghan gender
That's how
reassignment?
our government
Blah, blah,
works.
whatever.
That's how our
No, I'm
government
asking.
always
Okay, but
works.
did they get that money? Did that money get funneled from the U.S. to there under
Yes,
that
that's
premise?
always happened. In the
Okay.
history of
So
the
to
US.
act like that's nothing tied in or has nothing to do with it is flat out wrong, because it did.
No, the
Like, our grandkids are going to pay
top-down is
taxes
they see-
on money
they
that
see
country
us
took under
trying
that
to
premise.
implement their country in a way that they don't agree with, which is, we are saying you guys need this. Whatever this is doesn't matter.
They don't want
You
it.
can argue about the
But they took the
0.1%
money.
of little things, but the biggest issue is they see some foreign adversary coming in and saying, you guys are doing it wrong. This is how you do it. No,
Right.
that's not how you do it.
I
So,
agree
of
with
course it was gonna
everything that you're
fail.
saying.
So we
I
could
agree
have
with everything
gone
you're
back
saying.
20 years ago and
What
said,
you're not acknowledging is that, having said that, they still took all that money for that purpose, even though we all know, including them, the money was never going to get used for that purpose.
yeah, that's what a lot of countries do. They take money because they see it as an opportunity. It's not stealing.
Right. Right.
Okay, you're going to give me hundreds of millions of dollars? Okay, sure.
Of course they're going to say yes.
Billions. Yeah. I agree. But that's my point. That's what I'm saying. If not even a year ago, right? Like that was under the Biden deal or the last of the Trump one, and then bled over into the Biden deal with the COVID relief bill that had all this money that went everywhere except for people who weren't allowed to work, who lost businesses, shut down, blah, blah, all this. And it was under that bill that all this money, the billions of dollars got shifted to Afghanistan under gender reassignment, gender studies, that blah, 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 all this other shit that we all knew was a joke.
A waste of our
money.
They
took that money because they're, oh no, we're there and we're doing this and they're going to be like us and a democracy and blah, 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 blah. And then 4.5 months later, fuck it. They don't want to do none of that. Let's just get out of there and let Al-Qaeda take over.
Yeah,
Taliban
so
take
you're
over.
speaking to corruption in our country, not theirs.
Well, once the money goes to them for something that's not
it didn't go to them.
They're part of it.
No.
So the people in Afghanistan that also were getting
public officials have always done this.
Funding.
They have pet projects for their friends that they approve, and it's all corrupt. They get the money.
So you're saying that
they are middlemen.
Government
if you actually want to look
is in bed with
let me
the
just
Taliban?
quick explain. Like USAID. So they're like the government association, and this will probably get us pulled off if we're on YouTube. But so this is just going on Rumble, right?
Try not to. Try not to. Say
the largest government organization that I will not name takes money. Well, doesn't take money. We, as an American people, give our largest government or global organization money to use it however they want to use it. And it exchanges hands not once, not twice, not 3 times, upwards of 7, 8 times before it finally gets to its quote unquote intended purpose, which is what you read on the bill. The bill says it's for this. Well, it goes through hands about 7, 8 different times. And each person is taking a cut because they're saying, I've got administration fees and I've got to divvy it up this way and I've got to have staff. And they do that 8 times. Now, by the time you get to the very end, where if you, let's say you want to call it gender reassignment, whatever the program name is called, do you think that 100% money goes to the intended purpose? It does not.
I know that it doesn't.
It is fractions of pennies that get to the end result. And that's because all of the steps in between are taking their cut. And those are almost guaranteed all Americans. At the last couple of steps, there's local organizations that will take their cut, because they'll say, oh, yeah, we'll help with your mission or your program or what you're trying to accomplish, of course. And then they find someone else to do it, and then they find someone else. But all of those intermediary people are really what we would call globalists that are in the middle and are taking the money.
I agree.
That is a completely separate issue. Now, to get back to Afghanistan.
It's not a separate issue on the surface with what they're trying to sell people is my point. They're trying to sell people that this money needs to go to this. Well, we're helping this country, we're turning around, we're going to make it a democracy, we're going to blah, blah, blah. You and I and Gabe, we all know that that's bullshit. I'm not arguing that that's on the up and up. I'm saying they're going to sit there and tell you to your face as you, your kids, your grandkids, your great-grandkids are going to now pay taxes on a bill that's being passed now under the guise of a COVID relief fund to help a country. And then they turn around 4 months later and say, fuck that country. We'll let this other group take over and whatever happens, happens. We're not that worried about it.
Yeah, we already know there's corruption in our government and with our way of running it. That's
how our people come in with a net worth of
that's not the president
$400,000 and 10 years later on $100,000 salary they're worth 40 million. Like I agree with you 100%. I'm just saying, go ahead.
Can we all three agree that we all wanted to be out of Afghanistan? I wanted out. I just didn't want out this way.
Well, I don't think anybody wanted out with Americans that are stuck there. Like Al Qaeda is so good and they're on the up and up. Why are we going on our second week and
Taliban.
people are still stuck there? Taliban, sorry.
Canceled.
We get canceled for that. But why are people still stuck there? Why is anybody stuck there? If they want everybody out so damn bad, and you've got all these people that are supposedly hanging off of planes and shit because they want to get out so bad, why is anybody still there?
Good question, Lordy.
Because they control the airport.
But you
they
said
want everybody
they want
out,
everyone out.
and these people want out.
Yeah,
So
Afghanistan.
what's the holdup?
Afghanis are trying to get out. The people.
So are Americans.
Yeah, but who do they know who's who? That's why this whole list thing came up, is because they are the ones that are allowing people through this gate. And in the beginning,
why do
it was
they
just a mad
care?
rush of everyone trying to get all the available planes and leave.
If
So what did we
if
escort?
Afghanistan
There was like
people
30,000?
don't want to be there and don't want to live the way they want everything done and the way they want people to live, why don't they just let them all out? Everybody who wants to leave gets to
Where are
leave.
they going to go?
Wherever they want to go.
Why does sure about that?
Why do they care?
How are they going to do that?
You said they want
Let's say
people out of their
no.
country.
Let's say
why do they care where they go?
You are an Afghani male and you want to leave the country. So you're saying you can just hop on the plane and go where?
There's a lot of countries, including our own,
a lot of places
that are opening arms and saying we want your refugees. Like there's a conservative governor, I can't remember, it might be Georgia, who's like straight up, we want them. We want these refugees from Afghanistan. Send them to us.
Yeah. So let's say you're the Taliban. You're controlling the airport. Are you allowing an Afghani male to go through and fly on a plane?
If I'm the Taliban,
well, if I want them out of my country, if I want people out of my country that don't agree with my deal, like you said, and these people want out of my country because they don't agree with my way of life, then what's the problem? So they're forcing them to stay. They're basically kidnapping all these people. These good Taliban are keeping people basically hostage.
No, it's their home. They're saying you guys can't leave. It's the people that we want out of the country, which priority is foreigners are leaving. We want them to leave. So the issue I had with the whole list thing is they're prioritizing who the U.S. is prioritizing who they think is most important to leave the country. They didn't come out with a statement and say all Americans are being escorted out of the country immediately. They didn't come forward and say that. They say we got a list to give to these guys. So if you show up at the airport, they'll let you through and then we'll get you out of the country. That sounds like a VIP 1% to me.
Which isn't good.
It should be
but my
all
question
Americans are leaving the country because they don't want you there. And we want you to go home. Now, there's probably Americans there that don't even want to leave. They're probably in some rural areas that don't even matter. They're going to stay. That's their choice. But the statement should be as broad as to say all Americans are allowed to leave. And they didn't even do that.
Well, tell us what you got.
Brings us to the current news of the bombing. So they're saying it's ISIS, and ISIS is apparently claiming that they did it, and they are infighting, if we want to call it, between the gangs of the Taliban and ISIS. They're fighting with each other. So you have ISIS now trying to take advantage of the situation of this airport that has who knows how many people trying to fly out of, and they see it as a perfect opportunity. We can create chaos, and we can create chaos with people we don't like on all sides because that gives us exposure and that gives us recruitment.
Meanwhile, China's moving in and grabbing up all the rare earth minerals and all the earth metals and stuff like that, man. It sucks.
None of it's consistent, is what I'm saying. Like you've got this group that took over Afghanistan that they're not bad people. They just want their country the way it's supposed to be. Okay, great. Then why are we 2 weeks in and people can't leave that want to leave, especially people that don't belong there?
Why are other countries having to send in militia members, not militia members, but sending in special forces to go in and like we've got some French people here in Afghanistan. We're going to send some soldiers out to go personally escort these French citizens out of their country
because
or out and back to
in
their
chaos.
country. Right.
And what was it? Today, 1,000 or however many thousand Afghan refugees were out or brought over, and not Americans. I just don't like these good guys that are on the up and up and working with us are clearly making it so the Americans can't get to the airport, let alone get out of the airport. That debunks the whole theory that these guys aren't horrible guys.
They
and
said
just
they
want
wanted
this
them
neutral country.
They wanted them out by the
just
end of
run
the
their
month.
thing. Why?
Because Biden said that he was going to get out by the 31st, and they want him to stick to that.
Right.
And-
But that's fine. But like, why do we need to wait a month? They want people out and people want to get out. What's the holdup? Like this whole thing supposedly started with Trump, right? Like that's what you told us. So why is it that none of this chaos happened until Biden came in and went, slow and steady isn't good enough. Everybody go now. And then shit hits the fan, and it's for the better. It really is for the better because they don't want us there and we don't want to be there. But now I can't get out.
He keeps coming out with his argument seems to be like, well, come on, man. I mean, I'm not going to send your children to war anymore. Man, I'm not going to do it. It's like, that's not what we're mad about.
But when you and I were watching stuff earlier, how many Democrats and everybody else was saying they were against the just pulling the fucking plug and getting everybody out? But now it's like, oh no, it's not a bad idea. It was fine. It was a good idea. It's what would have happened if Trump was there. It's blah blah blah. Like, come on, dude. Then why didn't it? Why did it take 18 fucking months? And a final blow of, we're gonna be out by this time because I want to hit this 20-year anniversary deal of 9/11.
All right, man.
There's just nothing. It's just not consistent, is what I'm saying. Right.
We'll keep learning as things come out. I mean,
I don't want to learn.
I'm glad
to be ignorant.
I'm glad we waited like a week to even talk about this because it's just like drinking out of a fire hose. There's so much going on, and so many of us have been, including myself, of course, have been so blind and ignorant about what's going on in the Middle East. And now, like you said, shit hit the fan, and we're all having to deal with everything all at once. Like, think about it. We're still, you and I are still living under the assumption that the Taliban is considered a just common knowledge that they're a terrorist organization. Well, turns out they're not.
Will be to me.
But that's how I feel. But it turns out even Trump didn't have them registered or legally named as a terrorist organization.
But he had how many thousands of prisoners from this good group?
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems weird to me as all.
It seems weird as hell to me too, man.
We're going to release these 5,000 or whatever it is prisoners from this group that's on the up and up and just wants the best for their country and wants these people out that they still won't let out. Okay. Sounds good.